What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? Welcome back. It's your boy Terrence, and we are back with another episode. I got the homies Marissa, Levi, and Tamara, and we are back. What's up, y'all? What's
What
good?
is
Hey,
up?
What's good? What's
And
good?
what is up with y'all calling me Marissa? Ugh,
I'm sorry. Did I say Marissa?
you did.
Oh,
Like
Marissa.
what's up?
Ah,
he
I call
is
everybody's full
angry.
name.
Yes, because people who are close to me do not call me that.
Well,
You're
I'm
right.
on a thing.
You're right, Fancy.
What
You're
is
right.
This is
up?
this is
That's
us
true.
talking, but
Exactly. So where's Marissa coming from? Let's get
I'll.
it together.
I'm
Thanks.
She
sorry,
doesn't
Rissa.
like
I'm
it.
sorry. I always call you Rissa. I do,
Because that
but
to me it sounds very informal. Like I'm sorry, are we coworkers?
no, true, true, true. But yeah, today we're going to talk. Well, we're going to talk about second chances and do people deserve them? Do the people in your family, do the people in your lives, do celebrities, does anybody deserve a second chance? Depending on the nature of the offense, maybe or maybe not. Um, there have been some situations in my life that I've done some things that I might have wanted a second chance for, and people have not forgiven me. And sometimes I think, hey, I deserve a second chance, but the other person on the other end doesn't think I deserved it. So, um, let's get into it. Let's get into it. We see a lot of situations in the media now, like with celebrities going crazy, doing crazy stuff to each other, to people. We got people still don't forgive Chris Brown for what happened between him and Rihanna. People definitely get in on R. Kelly or and things like that. What 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 should be the metrics for whether or not someone is forgiven or not? Can you do you just forgive them and move on? You don't have to deal with them. Do you not forgive them at all? What do you do? What do you do? Are there situations where you feel like you have been around people have done something to you and you couldn't forgive them? Me personally, I don't think so. But go ahead. I'm sorry, Tamara.
Okay, you just kept going on with the questions, and I'm like, so the metrics, yeah, I feel like you should be able to forgive somebody if it doesn't affect your well being and your mental status and your peace and your longevity of what you have going on in life, right? So
Right.
if you can forgive that person, um, still be in their life and it doesn't affect you to the point of your downfall, of course, second chance all day long. But when it starts to affect who you are authentically and the way that you do your everyday things, then I think that's when some evaluation needs to come into place, and you need to figure that part out of how the second chance looks. And another thing, you were talking about forgiveness, like can you forgive that person? You most definitely, I don't care how severe the damage was, I don't care like what that person did to you, if they like just like did you wrong, for your healing, for yourself, for your progression, you got to forgive them. You have to. And I understand it's harder to get over certain situations than other situations, but for me, I feel like it's very important to forgive that person that did you wrong, however the levels may be, just so that you can have complete healing and go forward. But I
It may,
do feel like it's circumstantial.
yeah.
It depends on the situation. It depends on the severity of what it included and why you need to give this person a second chance, all of that. But I definitely do believe in second chances because God gave that to us. So
Mm.
why can't we extend that to others? So
It makes me think about Amber got well, I won't say her name, but it makes me think about the situation that happened in Texas where the police officer got off of work. Y'all heard about that? She got off of work. She lives in an apartment that all the apartments look the same on the different, but they're on different levels. She walks into the apartment thinking it's her house, and it's someone else's house, and she shoots and kills the person in there while they're sitting in their own house. The family forgives her. but people in the comments and people in in the meta called the family crazy and called the family, how could you forgive her, how could you do that, she killed, you know, she took your life. That's what makes me think about that in those situations. I can't tell nobody what to do for their personal life. For me,
Right.
like Tamara said, for me, I haven't been through that.
Yeah.
I can say I've been through situations where I'll forgive somebody, but I still won't deal with you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
For
I'm
sure.
saying?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I won't deal with you. Like I'll move on with my life and whatever, but between me and you, deuces. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ain't got two words for you, but I'm not going to be sitting here holding a grudge and hoping that, you know, the revenge thing. So
Yeah.
I guess it comes into play of what does forgiveness mean to people?
Yeah.
Right.
Like what does it mean to you guys, forgiveness, Tamara?
Forgiveness means that the ill intent, right? The malicious, intent that the person had against me or that they actually did, um, is forgiven but not forgotten. And I understand that's the whole thing. Like, in order to forgive, you have to forget. Hell no.
Yeah.
Um, so but true forgiveness is not even for the other person. It's for me.
Right.
And that's how I look at it. I look at it as, if I don't forgive this person, I'm going to be held bondage, going through my head, going through my emotions of, why did they do this? Why did this happen? Why they have to do me wrong like that? And it's
Yeah.
keeping me in bondage. It has nothing,
Right.
honestly, to do with the other person. It's
Right.
about my freedom and my way of dealing with it so that I can continue to live, continue to thrive. So that's how I look at forgiveness. Now, again, some things are just like, people do bad things to people. And I
Right.
get that time, you have to factor in the time portion with forgiveness too. You know what I mean? Um, it takes time sometimes to forgive a person fully
True.
Yeah.
because of what happened. But that's how I look at forgiveness. It's more for me, not for the other person.
How about you guys? What do you feel, Rissa?
I agree with everything that's been said. I also feel that it is definitely very circumstantial.
Yeah.
And like you said, Terrence, with that example that you gave, like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's rough.
Mm.
That's rough.
I
It's
That
mean,
is rough.
real
I just don't
and it's
under.
rough
I don't understand.
because you don't. Right.
Like, on an outside looking in, I'm not saying that I don't. I understand people who do forgive others of offenses like that. I don't know if
Mm.
I am capable of that.
Right. Until you go through
um,
it, you don't know. You
exactly,
you you don't know what you can
exactly.
tolerate, you know?
Right. Now, there are certain things I feel like, nah, I'm not forgiving you for that. um,
Hmm.
but like, I just, something like that, I think is hard to, that's hard because that does affect these people. Like, they're going
No,
on
true.
without their loved one. And
Yeah,
it,
absolutely.
it's irreversible too. So, like, I'm supposed to forgive you for literally unaliving my family member
And that's what it
in an
is. So, like,
apartment that you supposed to have a key for? Like, there's all these things, because all apartments look alike. That doesn't happen every day. So yeah, I feel like there's certain things I do feel that are not forgivable. For example, any crime against a child, that's an automatic no for me.
No, that's very true. Sorry.
Automatic
Yeah.
no. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and that's not only is it
it's
automatic no, that's something that I feel that in that position, I would want revenge for. I'm gonna just be honest.
no
Uh,
true.
yeah,
That's rough.
it
I
is.
feel
It's
like
definitely rough because
in a situation like that,
like
I
you
feel
you
like
know what it's supposed to be. Like, oh, you're supposed to give them, da da da. But if you, and that's another thing too, Tamara, too. And in addition to, is it gonna if that offense wasn't to you, but maybe to someone close to you, and
Hmm.
you are intricately involved with the person that the offense was against, like per se a child, that's going to affect them. That could affect them for the rest of their life. What do you do? You know? So yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is difficult because I don't know. When you think about the situation, I think about something, and this is a movie, but you think about the movie with Matthew McConaughey and Samuel Jackson. Was it
Oh, A Time
Oh
to
my
Kill.
goodness.
A Time
A
to
Yeah.
Time to
Kill?
Kill. Yes.
And his in
Mm,
the movie, if you
yeah.
haven't seen it, this is a big spoiler. But in the movie, Samuel L. Jackson's daughter gets raped by two men. And
Brutally.
I'm not gonna make it about race, but she gets raped by two men, and he's
It was
going
the movie
he
was about race though.
the movie was about race.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it about that because it's two men raped your daughter.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? You gonna sit there and
Right.
just be like, "You raped
Oh,
my
I
daughter,
forgive
so I
you.
forgive
No.
you."
Right.
Now, I'm gonna be real with y'all. For me, I feel like I could be forgiving, but I definitely still want you to pay for what you did.
Yeah.
I feel like they can be the same. I feel like they're not mutually the same. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
I get
you
that.
can forgive someone, but you can also want them to be punished for what they did. And I
Because
feel
they need
like
to learn a lesson.
the
Period. Yeah.
lessons need to be learned.
Period.
People
Period.
have to have punishment and consequences
Yes.
for things.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think that's what people feel the difference is. If I forgive you, then you won't get the punishment.
Right. Suffer that. No, that's not what that means. Like
No.
Right.
at all.
So for
But see,
No.
that's
me,
the thing too. A lot when you that's a good point because but the thing also is sometimes and let's say you do it the right way and you allow the let's say this is an offense like A Time to Kill and you allow the judicial system to do what they do.
right, right.
Oftentimes they fail. That's the
That
problem.
it has failed. No, that
Yeah.
is a huge problem because the judicial system can be
It can be
it can
It's
be
manipulated.
rough.
flawed.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
flawed.
like
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it's a very similar situation, not similar, but it's a situation happening now where here in New York where a gentleman was just acquitted and he literally held a man in a position of a positional asphyxiation
Mm-hmm.
where if someone who was choking on their own throw up, if they're in a place where they can't physically think or they don't have the ability to breathe properly on their own, you put them on their side so they can breathe properly instead
Right.
of being on their back. So this man holds another man by a chokehold for 6 minutes, laying on their back, and he has them in a chokehold. And this man is acquitted. And they said that he stopped moving for a minute before they held him for a minute before he let go. He stopped moving. This was what the news thing said that I read earlier. That for a minute before he let him go, he stopped moving. So he's not moving. He's sitting there in a chokehold. But this guy gets acquitted. So his
Mhm.
family, what does his family do? Can his family not? Does his family supposed to forgive this man? Is his family supposed to forgive the justice system for letting this man get acquitted? Stuff like that. It's second chances. Like it's like what do you do in these situations in life? I I haven't been faced with a situation like that.
Right.
Thank God.
Thank God.
I mean, I'm laughing because I laugh for me. I laugh at hard situations because it's like when you start to think about it, it's like, God, what do you do? What do you do in those situations? Oh,
Let's hear from
it's
Levi.
rough.
It
What do you
is.
have to say, Levi?
For me, when it comes to like unforgiveness, forgiveness, uh, I personally think that unforgiveness is a way that not trying to go too spiritual or anything like that, but I feel like that's how you are robbed of who God really made you to be.
Yep.
I feel like when you have that unforgiveness on the inside of you, you replace it with things that don't belong to you. So like you used to love real hard, but because of this situation and what happened, you no longer love real hard no more.
Mm-hmm.
and you allow these things to continually build up in you, and the next thing you know, you're no longer the person that you were originally, or God originally created you to be. So I really feel like that's tying back into what Tam is saying. That's why forgiveness is really for the person, so that way you can heal, and you can continue on being the person that God has made you to be. That's we end up seeing a lot of people with built up anger, built up hate. They don't trust. We come to a generation where we don't trust people no more, and
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of it is dictated by our situations. And a lot of times when we're in these situations, we don't think clearly, and that's easy to not think clearly sometimes because the situation doesn't flame us, and it's just what it is. It's real, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes if we take a step back and we can reflect back and say, you know what, like I'm not going to let this situation that I've gone through, or what has happened to me, dictate my future or how I'm going to interact with the world. Um, I think that's a really positive thing to do, because surely, like at one day, I'm going to need forgiveness for somebody else, and I'm going
True.
to need to forgive someone else, and hopefully, they give me enough grace to forgive me, and I can give them enough grace to forgive them. And different situations are going to dictate different things, especially what Marissa said with kids. I don't play about that type of stuff. So,
Right.
um,
Right.
you know, I just think if we all, just the world in general, this is not a utopia or anything like that. So I can't say that everyone's going to think this way. Is everything okay over there, Marissa? Are you running into the bookshelves?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Things fell.
I can't say that everyone's going to look at it the same, but I do hope that that people will be able to approach situations with a clear mind, and really be able to think back and forgive, or not harbor unforgiveness
Yeah.
to anyone else.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is what Merriam-Webster defines forgiveness as: to cease to feel resentment against an offender.
Mm.
Now, so you can cease to feel that resentment, but you still want the punishment. You still want them to suffer the consequence. Not so much suffer. You don't want the, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's the same thing. You
I mean,
want them to
Yeah.
you
pay.
want the consequences of what
You
they're
want the
actions to take
consequences to
place.
come.
Yeah.
But do you feel? Do you
Do you
still feel
guys? Can I ask
resentment?
this question? Do you actively wish ill will on people?
I don't. For me,
Like
I
people who've offended you, like
Yes.
no, no, okay, no,
no.
Because, like, I'm just gonna
Right.
keep it real. There are some
yeah,
people,
that do.
Who
okay,
do
because,
that?
like, who do that?
Yeah.
They wish ill will on people, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna say
That's
this.
not. Yeah. Go ahead,
You
please.
call they call themselves Christian like and stuff. They try to use God
Yeah,
to act out their feelings in wrath on other people,
Right.
and that's
Right.
not Christian like, and you're not
It's
no,
not.
no,
saved, and you should probably repent,
Right.
honestly,
yeah,
because
Right.
that's just not how God works.
No.
right.
That isn't.
Sorry, like, God, I hope you get them. I hope you teach. Like, what? God, what if God don't? God is who, he can do whatever he want to do. You know what I mean?
Right,
So
Right.
it's
right.
those type of things. Now that type of stuff infuriates me when you're really, like, just all out wishing ill will and the downfall of somebody else. Like,
Yeah,
what are we doing here? That's
Because
a hard thing.
especially
You got to figure out if your heart is right or not.
That
especially if
part.
you're claiming to be a Christian, because at the end of the
yeah.
day, God wants for everyone to be saved, and He doesn't
Yeah.
want everyone
That's
to
right.
be going and suffering and stuff like that. So
All souls
you
belong
want
to him.
all
Yeah,
souls belong to Him. So you want people to get right, not so much just suffer, but you want people to change their ways. Now,
Yeah.
everyone's not going to change their ways. You can do what you can in prayer and stuff,
100%.
right.
but everyone's not going to change their ways. But that doesn't mean that you praying for
A
God,
downfall on somebody.
send the rain, send the
Yeah.
The
hurricane,
But
fire,
people
send
say
yeah,
that.
hellfire,
yeah,
and
no,
people do
Yeah,
say
people say
that,
that
and
they're
yeah,
they're witches is what they I don't know if they practice witchcraft or what, but that's some
Yeah.
silly
yeah,
stuff.
But
I'm
people
right.
do.
sorry.
You're right. People do that.
That don't
people
sound
do
like
do that.
God, the
Mm,
No.
God that we read about that's in the Bible. The
yeah,
Bible.
yeah. That
Yeah,
is true. That is true.
yeah. It's
Like you just leave it as what goes around comes around, and that fact is true. But like
Yeah.
for you to literally like harbor and wish, like I don't even know how you go in your mind to be like God get him. Like what?
I
That's
don't
what
know.
I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
why.
How you tell God to go and attack
Like, how you gonna
somebody?
tell
Yeah.
him to
Right.
go? How you gonna tell him to go hurt somebody? Like
The
what?
audacity.
It's just it's weird that you think
Weird.
that that's how he works, and he doesn't. Now, but like that's not how that works. And I would
No.
not even that like I have never thought to be like, you know what, God, you go do this. I've never thought to do that. So
But this is the thing. It can't occur if you don't forgive, because
yeah,
Mm.
it
yes, it
changes you. It changes your
does.
mind. It
Yeah,
changes your heart, and therefore it changes your outlook on everything. So
right.
that's why I said, even with the worst offense, look at the school, the young man that shot up the fifth graders in the Amish community
Oh
that
yes,
happened years ago. The Amish community came back, even though their children, okay, their
Yeah,
baby died, but they came, made a public announcement to say, of course it was wrong. My baby is dead, but I forgive them, because it's what is that going to do for you, to you on the inside, and that's where
yeah,
it all boils down to. Period.
that's true. And
uh,
see, when you put it like that, I hope people listening understand that it's not about them. It's
right.
not about the
No,
other person. It's about
And
your
it
mental and
correct.
emotional
Come on with it, brother.
stability
it is.
Forgiveness is not an act of weakness.
It's
It
it's
not.
doesn't
not.
mean
It's
that you
Thank
not,
you.
right,
No.
but
baby. That's the
a
biggest
lot of
strength you
people
can
feel like
have.
that though. Like, oh, so I'm
Period.
just supposed to, people feel like, oh, well, that I'm not doing. No,
They
I'm not.
punking out.
Right,
Yeah.
like you feel like
It
you're
makes
gonna
No,
fail.
you
So
no,
look more
that's the
like God.
biggest strength that you can have.
The
yeah,
I've
biggest.
been through
it,
it.
it is.
Trust,
Right.
man. Please.
Yeah,
So
That is
it's not easy to forgive. It's very easy to
no,
hold on
no.
to a grudge. It's
no,
not
Mm-mm.
easy to forgive somebody because
it's
it's
not.
hard. You have to honestly, in your mind, you have to see that person and not want to be hate them for what they did. And
Yeah.
it's so easy to hate somebody because if they did something, especially shooting up a bunch of defenseless kids,
Can
Yeah.
you imagine? Like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Jeez.
like when it comes to kids too, I like human trafficking is a really big thing for me. I want to
Yeah.
become very much more involved with that. The people who are in that realm sending kids across state lines, borders and stuff like that, paying money to do things and stuff like that. It is if it's unforgivable,
Yeah.
but I I don't it's rough because to me these kids have no say. My thing is the most helpless
Yeah.
people. That's my issue. It's the most helpless beings being exploited, and I can't. I hate it. I hate the thought of people selling kids and doing stuff like that, harming kids and stuff. It's just deplorable.
Yeah. But
But
I'm sorry. I was
but
just gonna say, go ahead, Terrence. I don't want to cut you off.
no. But at the end of the day, the people who are involved, I want them found, I want them ended, but I I don't know. For me, forgiving them, that's rough. That's rough. Being involved with that stuff. But again, it hasn't happened to me personally, so I couldn't say how I would act in that situation. But God, there's some stuff out here that's real. It's real. You have to really think about what it does, what it's going to do to your person, it's to your personage and to your mind and to your mindset
Yeah.
if you hold on to those things. Go ahead,
So
Tamara.
saved or not saved? Like, I just feel like, however your belief system is, or however whatever that looks like to you, right? When someone does something wrong, it's not on you to determine what the outcome is. I firmly believe that they're going to have to suffer in the way of them doing what they did. The consequence, they're going to suffer in some realm. Because they have to
Some
learn. Life, you just don't You don't
Life
skate
has a
by
way.
doing bad all the time and nothing happens to you. I'm sorry.
100%.
That's never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you are a
Even if it
bad
looks
person,
like it. Even if it
right,
looks like
even if it looks like it,
it.
exactly. If you're a bad person and you're continue, baby, you're gonna get caught. You're gonna get caught up, and it. Trust me, it's gonna come back to you 100
Yeah.
fold.
Whatever
That's just
you
how it
sow, you
works,
will
and we
reap.
have to understand that it might not the suffering that we want them to experience. It won't look like what actually is going to happen to them. You just have to trust and believe that they're going to pay for what they did, and that's just it.
He- Here or in the grave.
Yep.
Here or in the
Yeah.
grave.
That's it.
I feel like the suffering will be too. Some people expect it to happen here on Earth.
No,
Um,
it doesn't always. It doesn't always happen like that.
No.
It doesn't
it
always
doesn't.
like that.
It
Yeah.
doesn't
It
always
doesn't
happen like that,
appear. I do
unfortunately.
believe that if a
Right. It
person
doesn't
is just
appear.
bad, they deal with demons inwardly. Like,
In the mind.
come on, you know what I'm saying? That's a
Oh,
suffering within
absolutely.
itself. But there's different like ways that we want to see the actual act of nigga. You need to learn. I'm sorry. I keep saying nigga. I'm so sorry. You need to learn what you did. We want to see those things, but it
Mhm.
everything is not full circle the way it
Right.
looks
And see,
Right.
that's the
like it
thing
to
that pushes
you.
people over the edge. That's
Yeah.
the because like that's the thing that can push people over the edge because the person who's offended, if you're not, let's say you're still holding this grudge and you're still not forgiving, and you start like keeping up with that person, and things appear like
Hmm.
everything gravy. Like, oh no, I'm just living my life. I'm not even thinking about what I did to you X amount of when or whatever. But you have no
Right.
idea what they're dealing with on
You
the
don't.
on the inside and in their life.
Exactly.
You're not close enough to know what's going on. So it can
Right.
Right. That's very true.
appears like they just going and everything good, but you really don't know that. So that's
You
why it's
don't.
another reason why it is important. Like, for the things that you actually can forgive, you really do have to move on with your life, because if you don't, best believe they are, whether they suffering or not. They not
All
thinking
right.
about you. So
Right.
why are you wasting
Exactly.
your time thinking about them? So don't
Exactly.
get caught up in the illusion of what you think is happening. Because a lot of people say it like, oh, I'm just over here feeling this, and they look like they going through life and everything's sweet. And
You don't know.
that's an illusion, honey. You don't know what's going on with
Right.
them. They could be
Exactly.
suffering greatly, and you just not
I,
know.
I just want to speak to the person who might be watching and saying, you guys have never experienced loss like I did. You never felt this. You never.
Hmm.
What I went through was worse than anything that you guys have described. I I can't say that I've been through it. I can say I can empathize with you. Um, and I know that you probably be like, there's no way you can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do know is that forgiveness is for you and is for your well-being.
Yeah.
You have to understand that it doesn't do anything for the other person. It's all for you. And you don't want to hold on to these things that's going to make you be worse off mentally, physically, because it gets on you. It gets to you physically too. You start to the depression that comes with
Yeah.
some of this
It
stuff
kills you. It
that
kills you.
it slowly eats at you,
Hmm.
and
There's nothing left.
there's nothing left,
There's
and
nothing
you
left.
really have to take those. You have to take a self thought, a self process. What am I trying to say? You got to step back, think about yourself and your well being,
Self evaluate.
and self-evaluate what you need to be able to get yourself where you were before. And of course it's not easy, mate. You might have to do therapy. You might have to talk to someone, a loved one, more often than you thought you needed to. You
Mm-hmm.
may need to take steps, whatever steps you need to take to help yourself be better, because there are real things out here that some people have gone through. People have been raped, people have been
Yeah.
sodomized, people have been brutalized.
Yeah.
And how do you forgive the people that did this stuff to you? I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. But I do know it's for you. It's for you to be
Hmm.
better,
And I
you
also
know?
want to say, if you're someone out there and maybe you haven't been the best person, maybe you've done some things that you know that you probably need to go to somebody and ask for forgiveness. I challenge you to do it. Get your heart right,
For
man
sure.
up, say, yo, I handled this situation wrong. I did this wrong. Can you please forgive me? And they may not forgive you. And that's totally okay. You did your part to say,
Right.
hey, I'm sorry, I was in the wrong. And I'm telling you, it does not make you weak. It makes you closer and more like Christ.
Yeah.
Period. So do it.
But noticing what you did wrong and wanting to atone for it is the bigger thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to speak to some of the fathers out there who haven't been the best fathers. Some of us in today's society, we think that because I was wrong, even though I'm trying to get right, it's on them to let me in. No, if they don't want to let you in, they don't have to let you in. But you can still make a assertive effort to take the time to do what you need to do. What you got to say, Levi? What's wrong? I couldn't. My dad has always been in my life.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine my life without my father because he's always been there. But um, if you haven't been there for your kid, hey,
It's never too late.
there's never too late.
It's never too
It's
late.
never too late
Well,
to
there is a
change
time
that.
that it can be late, but you want to
There's a
try to
time that
get
he
it.
might not. There's a time that the kid might not want you in their life,
Yeah,
um, and you have to accept that.
100%.
Yeah.
If a kid don't want you to be in their life, you have to accept that. You can't be mad. And if and ladies, if the man is trying to make an assertive effort to
Let
do right, let him.
Yeah.
Let him. Because your child needs needs their fathers. If he's a good father, if he's not doing what he needs to do, if he's
I was
still
about
being a
to say that.
deadbeat, being around him, don't let
Yeah.
him around, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can see that. You
You
can see
also
that.
don't gotta
But
let him keep coming out, coming back, leaving and coming back and all that. Like
no,
if
of
you
course
gonna
not.
yeah,
If he has the right intentions and
and he's continuously and persistently doing that. Like,
persistent, if he's consistent, then yes. Don't just because you have there are I have seen good fathers out here who are not being allowed back in their child's life because the mom is mad at him, but
mm-hmm.
the child is different. The child needs their father, and if he's trying and he's a good man for the kids, if he's not a good man but a good father, let him be a good father. But because I life is too short and it goes by quick. We've been knowing each other for 20 years, and let me tell you something. These past we over 20 years. These past years have they're gone. It's so crazy, and they'll be before you know it. The kid will be it'll be too late for them to actually have a good relationship. But move on, and let bygones be bygones. But y'all got anything else on that? I don't know why I felt like I need to talk about those things.
It's
I
a
feel
good
like
thing to
those are
say.
really relevant because it's really prevalent.
It is.
It's a lot of it's a lot of um, relationships out there that people didn't take into account whether they really liked the person that they were with,
Mm-hmm.
if they really fit together,
Right.
and whether and the person is if you the person who were seeking the relationship were even a good person to be in a relationship with somebody else,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't even consider that, and now you have a kid
Yeah.
and you mad at each other, you and the kid's suffering. The kid is suffering. I watched a
Right.
video the other day of a kid suffering because the mom and dad arguing with each other over the most petty bullish. So petty. Looking
Yeah.
at it from I mean, from the inside, of course, I've been in arguments and I've been petty in arguments. But then when you think back, it's like, oh my God, this is the stupidest thing.
Yeah.
And the kid is suffering
Yeah.
Yep.
Sometimes
because
adults
they,
can be very childish and they don't think
yes.
about the kids.
And you gotta forgive and move on. And both parents be grown up about it. Grow up. Grow up.
Communicate
That's
effectively and actively listen to one
yes. The active
actively
listening is
listen.
a big thing.
Yeah.
And not so much to listen to argue back, but listen to understand.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand, at least listen to hear and effectively communicate back your difference of opinion, but not arguing. And if you guys don't have if you have a difference of opinion, that's fine. But
And if
the
you
kid
can't get it, get outside help. It's okay to go to therapy.
outside help,
Like
yes,
outside
therapy.
help that is going to be good, like conducive to help put that glue
That's
in. just, I mean, no, y'all ain't got to be back together hunky dory, but at least
Right.
be cordial enough so that the family unit is still intact. Mom
Exactly.
and his
Unbiased.
dad, like whatever,
Unbiased.
regardless of whatever facet y'all are in, just seek the outside help to get that glue that's needed so that the kids won't be affected. Just
Absolutely.
there's nothing wrong with getting counseling. I don't no matter where you get it from. Do your research, invest in a good family therapist. It is worth it to invest in that to make sure that whoever makes up the family unit, that everybody can be present, everybody can forgive, everybody can move forward.
Yeah.
And Rissa, you got
Big
you have
facts.
any final statements for us today, Rissa?
That was it.
That was all right. Well, guys, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching this episode. Please like, share, and subscribe. We appreciate your comments. If you guys have anything to say, please talk to us. We'll definitely write back. We'll definitely talk back, and we'll take your comments under consideration. We appreciate your time today. You guys have a great and wonderful day, and we'll see you next time here on the Roundup. Take care, guys. Peace out.